people say, well, bodybuilding ruined my life, or bodybuilding ruined my relationship with food, or bodybuilding did this. Like, it's such a buzzword right now. This is not an easy sport, and it's not meant to be easy, and it's not meant to be done by everyone.
Success is?
Success is...
Perfect couch to transform your living space. Imagine a stylish centerpiece that not only enhances your decor, but also brings comfort and ease into your home. This couch is designed for effortless assembly, no tools required. You can have it ready in minutes. With its sleek design and vibrant colors, it's the ideal choice for a spring refresh. Whether you're entertaining guests or enjoying a cozy movie night, this couch offers the perfect blend of style and comfort. Don't wait, elevate your home today with WAYFAIR. Shop now and experience the joy of easy living.
Welcome to the Pink Book Podcast. I am your host, Joyce VanSeters, and I continue to bring you innovators and game changers who are redefining their success. I'm a little excited to get back to the fitness industry with this one. On today's episode, we have Adam Cuellar, physique competitor, who just won the Adela Garcia Classic. Adam, welcome to the podcast. Did I say your last name correct?
You did, yes.
Good.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So before I get into where you're from and everything, I want to know, first, congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
What was the first thing that went through your head when they called your name?
I was a little taken back. So like the last time I stepped on stage was 2024.
Okay.
And so it was just I had a spree of like second places. So I was already kind of like setting myself up to hear like, the next guy, be called out for first place. So I don't know if you saw it in the video, but it was like just a relief. I was like finally kind of figured it out a little bit. Yeah. So it was just a relief to finally kind of figure out that formula that we've been looking for. And, I changed coaches not too long ago. So that was a lot of validation, just I made the right choice because I knew that the physique was there. It was just, some pieces were missing. So it was just like just a sigh of relief, really.
Okay, awesome. Where are you from, Adam?
So I'm in Houston, Texas now, but I'm originally from a small little West Texas town, Midland, Texas.
Okay.
So have you ever heard of the movie like Friday Night Lights? That's where it's made after.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a lot of football and oil and gas. So I'm an oil and gas professional by day. So
are you?
And then a bodybuilder. Yeah.
Okay. Big family?
Not too big, no. So I pretty small family. A majority of my family's back in Midland, and so I'm the first one to kind of venture out. And I lived in San Antonio for a little bit, and then I've been in Houston for about 3 years now.
Okay. I want to learn about your discipline a little bit. So tell me about your upbringing.
So I came from a little bit of a like tumultuous background. So I come from like kind of like a broken home. My biological parents, like my mom, my dad, they were never really together just long enough to have me.
Okay.
And then, my mom met my stepdad and they were together for a little bit, but by the time I was about 17, 18, they kind of split up. So then, so a lot of my like upbringing was like me and my mom, trying to make ends meet for a majority of my adult life. And then they ended up getting back together, and he's a really good part of our family now, or a big part of my life too. But, those major years of my like adulthood were a lot of me and my mom just trying to make it and trying to figure things out.
When did you start? When was working out a thing for you? When did that come about, and how did that come about?
So it was a funny story. So my stepdad actually it's a inside joke now, but he had kind of made fun of me once I got out of high school. I got a little bit chubby, like most kids do once you kind of get out of high school. Stopped playing. I played football, ran track, I did all the things, played baseball. So as I got out of high school, I put on a little bit of weight. And one day I was walking in with my girlfriend into the house, and he's like, "Hey, you're looking a little soft there." And that was kind of it. Like I was probably maybe 18 years old. And so the next day I went straight to the gym. I literally went to the YMCA, got a membership, and it's been nonstop ever since then.
How old were you then when this happened?
Probably about 18, 19, somewhere around there. I was just out of high school. Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you now?
I'm 37 now. Just turned
37.
37.
Are you?
Yes.
Wow, you look
Yes.
really, really youthful.
Thank you. I
Good
appreciate
for
it.
you.
I
I'm
try.
sure it's the discipline. Exactly.
A
Um,
lot of the times what gives it away is like I have some gray in my beard, so I have to make sure I keep that under wraps, or it kind of
exactly.
starts to give away my age. But I try to take really good care of myself, and try to be as young as I can.
Okay. I consider anyone in the gym who's building their body a bodybuilder, but when did it become serious for you? Like, when did it become more than just working out?
So my first show was 2017, and
Okay.
then so probably prior to that, maybe like 2016. That's when like men's physique was kind of
Yeah.
hitting the big
Hmm.
time, and it kind of started getting more popular because before that I was not being a bodybuilder and a speedo was definitely not my thing. So
Okay.
once I got into the gym, and I loved it, but somebody said, "Hey, you should try bodybuilding," and I was like, "I'm okay. I don't want to get on stage in my underwear." And they're like, "No, you can do board shorts," and I was like, "Oh, I can definitely do that." Yeah. So then, I found a coach, Matt Porter, which is
Hmm.
he's passed away now, but he was actually my very first coach, and so I hired him in 2017, and it was off to the races after that.
And where was your first show?
It was in Dallas, Texas. It was the City Limits Championships.
Okay.
Dre Dillard. I don't know if you know Dre.
No.
Yeah, she's an IFBB Pro as well, but that was her
Okay.
show for many years.
Okay. So when did you have the mindset of, wow, like I can do this, I can compete at a high level?
So actually, my first show, I had actually won the overall there too.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, so I went in and I won the whole show. I don't think back then they had the novice overall, but I won all my classes, and then the open overall my first show.
And that was like, you're like, let's go.
Yeah, and after that, I kind of got really serious, and I got a lot of good feedback, and I just needed to mature and grow and things like that. So as far as bodybuilding, I knew I kind of had an avenue, and then in 2018, I try to do it again. I just didn't have like the mindset. I was kind of riding that high from 2017
Mhm.
and thought I could, I was still pretty young at that time, chase girls, go out, party, that kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
ended up getting third place that next year at the same show.
Wow.
So that was a very big eye opener to me that, regardless of what happened last year, it's a whole new season once you that chapter turns, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually took a break after that. I kind of fell out of, I didn't want to say fell out of love with bodybuilding, but I took a little bit of a break because I knew that mentally I wasn't there. I was still pretty young, pretty, immature about things. And so I took time to kind of build, I'm in oil and gas now, and I've been in oil and gas for a long time, and I was doing it then, but take time to kind of build that part of my life, and, make sure I had an avenue that I can make an actual living out of. And then I stepped back into bodybuilding in 2023, 2024 is when I came
Okay.
back. So I took a
I
little
know
time
we
off.
went through, okay. I know we went through quarantine through that time. So
Mhm.
was that a factor of you not competing, or
No,
were you
not at
just
all.
more into
I was
it?
still, I'd moved to San Antonio probably 2 or 3 years prior to that,
Okay.
and then bought a house there. So kind of went through that, and just, there's just a lot of things that, family, business, my career, things like that, just kind of, it wasn't on the forefront of my mind at the moment, because I'm one of those guys where I need to make sure that I'm all in.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do something, I'm all in. And so I knew, those, what is that, 6 years, I just wasn't in the right mindset to take it all the way.
Wow. So piggybacking off of that, what sacrifices do you feel you had to make to get back into competing, or for that 2023 show that you did?
Um, Sacrifices, I don't think there was any sacrifices made. There was a lot of lifestyle changes I need to make. And now that I look back, I don't think there were sacrifices. Like, I stopped drinking. So that was a big part of that. This November will be 3 years that I'm completely sober from alcohol. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's a big part of, my fitness journey. And I tell that to everyone, that
Mhm.
that's probably the biggest thing that's changed my life, mentally, physically, emotionally. I think that, cutting drinking out of my life, and I know for a lot of people that does sound like a sacrifice, but it's the
Mhm.
best thing I ever did for myself, honestly.
Tell me why. Why do you feel that way? That was the best thing you ever did?
So physically, I mean, I like you said, right? I feel like I'm a lot more youthful because
Hmm.
I have been drinking for the last 3 years. So I feel like that is a big part as well. But also just like your emotional maturity, right? Like the way that you handle certain situations.
Yeah.
And, I don't sugarcoat anything. Like when I was drinking, I was a different person. I made dumb decisions. I did stupid things. I said stupid things. And, you know, as I look back, I'm super embarrassed of that kind of stuff. Right. And so I want to make sure that as I'm growing and, as I'm growing as a person, that I can be, a role model to other people. And that does not include me drinking, going out, like, all the stuff that drinking entails.
Right. What does discipline mean to you?
I think it's, what you do when people aren't looking, right? It's easy to, it's easy to post on social media and, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And you could probably see, like, I'm not a big social media guy. Like I
Yeah, I
don't post a
noticed.
lot. I try to stay low key, and I try to, I try to let the results do, and it sounds very corny, right? Let the results speak for themselves. But it's really how I live my life. I just think that when you're able to do things without a crowd applause, I think that says a lot about you, right? And I think the wins and even the losses sometimes, like I put a lot of pressure on myself in 2024 coming back, and and it was probably a lot of self and like induced pressure. What
Hmm.
is people going to think of me? What are they going to say if I don't win, if I don't do? So these are just constantly things that are playing in my mind.
Right.
And so, as I got into this 2024 season, I, kind of just put my head down or 2026 season, I just kind of put my head down and just got to work and didn't really post much. And I just wanted to do it for myself and not so much, for like the social media aspect. And I know there needs to be a little bit of that, especially for like my coaching business and those kind of things. So those things do need to be put out there,
Yeah.
and it's good for people to see that. But I try to do it in the most humble and like, um, like non-confrontational way, right? I'm very respectful to like other competitors, other, people in the industry. So I try to ride that line. But I think discipline is just, doing things for yourself when people aren't looking, and, making sure that you're holding that line, regardless of, if people are going to the right and you believe what's going on left or center or whatever, right? You're riding that line based off of what you believe.
Okay. So from your 2023 season that you came off of to 2026, you didn't compete in 2024, 2025? Or
So 2024 was my season, and
okay.
then I took 2025 off, and
Okay.
so I do have a coaching business, so I kind of focus more on the coaching aspect of that. Because honestly, on 2024, I kind of thought about hanging it up. Honestly, like
Did you?
I felt I did, yeah. It was I felt like I couldn't get over that hump of like, winning a local show or winning first place. And I know a lot. And I tell my athletes this all the time. And placings don't, they don't dictate like your progress, right?
Hmm.
Like what you're doing. But when you're trying to be a professional athlete, like it does, right? So you have to
Yeah.
win shows, you have to turn pro, you have to do these things, right?
Right.
And so I just felt like at the time, I just, hindsight's 2020, but now like I just knew that I just probably wasn't ready. Like
Okay.
same physique wise, maybe even coach wise, things like that. Like I think a lot of things fell into place for me in this season as far as like my physique, coming a long way in my changing coaches and just my atmosphere of being able to train and focus a lot on that. I think that made a big difference in this season.
I want to learn a little bit more about your prep this
Okay.
season, but I want to know how do you handle self-doubt during prep?
Oh, I think the biggest thing is probably it's one of those things for me. For self-doubt was the biggest thing that got me across was that I'd already got second place, and I did got fifth place at nationals, and I got ninth place at nationals. So I had nothing to lose, honestly.
Okay.
Like, right, I had nothing to lose. Like, what was
Yeah.
the worst that was going to happen? Was I was going to come out and get second place again? Like, I mean, for most people, that's
Okay.
great, and yeah, and I get it, and I understand, and I don't want to downplay that because bodybuilding. You getting on the stage, regardless of the placing, is a win, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, to be a professional athlete, you have to be at the top of the heap in order to make that happen. And so for me, I was like, I don't have anything to lose. Like what's the worst that happens? I get another second place, and then I just, reevaluate what I want to do for the season or for the next, do I just want to go complete, 100% into coaching,
Yeah.
or do I need to take some more time off? And a lot of what dictated the rest of this season was the feedback from, this past show.
Mm.
And, overwhelmingly, it was great feedback. And so it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, like, I think we figured it out. And so a lot of that self-doubt that I had, or, some of those questions that I had about, am I ready for this? That kind of dissipated a little bit.
Tell me, how long was your prep for this show?
So we had actually started back in December. So I got with my coach, David Short, back in December. And it just happenstance that he owns a gym here, and I was going to that gym, and I was still on the fence about if I was going to compete or not. And so I met him at the gym. So I talked to him about, my past competition season. He's like, man, that's just a peaking thing. He's like, I think the physique is there, and I think you've got a lot of potential. And he's like, I think you just need to put that on stage. And so I said, well, if you don't mind, like, you want to take me on? He said, yeah. And I said, well, let's get after it. So I think we started early December, right before, before Christmas and all that stuff. So we started December, a pre-prep, just to kind of get the body ready. I wanted to give David enough time to be able to understand my body and like what we needed to do to be very competitive. So I kind of pulled all the stops out as far as like whatever he needed from me. I wanted to make sure that we were 100% going into prep. So I think we turned like prep on like early February or something like that. So I gave him like 2 months, pre-prep to kind of figure my body out.
How did you pick this show?
I just let David do it. Right. So I always tell my athletes, like, you're ready when you're ready. Right. And so I tried to tell him, unless you have a deadline, unless you just have to do a show like that weekend for whatever reason it is, Texas has shows every weekend. Like, get on stage when you're ready. And so that's what I told David. So as we got about, I think 6 or 8 weeks out, he's like, let's do this show. And so I said, let's do it. And so,
show.
Yeah, it was a good show. And so it was just one of those things, like, as an athlete, I trust my coach, and, sometimes maybe too blindly, but like, that's the kind of athlete that I am. And that's the kind of coach, that's the kind of athletes that I want as a coach, that try to follow, you hired a coach for a reason, or you hired me for a reason. Like, let them do what they're hired to do. And, they're professionals for a reason.
Yeah, it's a good show. I mean, I followed her career forever. I was big into fitness when, the fitness girls were doing their thing back in the day, and she and Tangi Johnson. So I love Adela Garcia. She's amazing. So good show. Tell me what your morning routine looks like when you're locked in.
So it's kind of the same, right? And so I usually go to the gym.
It has to be.
Yeah, even on prep or even not on prep, I go to the gym first thing in the morning. And so I usually try to get that knocked out. And I always tell people, you get the hardest part of your day knocked out, and the rest of the day is kind of easy after that. So I usually get up, I'll, make my, pre-workout meal, get ready for the gym, go to the gym, and then, take care of my 9 to 5 after that. So I'm usually, in the gym probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock when I'm not on prep in the morning, and then, take care of, my responsibilities for my career, 9 to 5.
Did you ever during this show consider quitting during this prep? I mean, that's a long.
No, not at all. I think this was, and I told David, I said, I specifically said this to him. I said, this was the best thing that I could have done for my career, right? As far as my competitive career, I didn't feel any pressure. I didn't feel rushed. I didn't feel like we were behind. I felt like we just like cruised into the show, and it was it's the best prep that I've had in the past, in my competitive career. So it was just, and I know people say all the time, this is the best prep of my life or whatever, right? But this really was, because I've always felt like I was behind going into shows, right? And that's probably a little bit of self-doubt, because I've never not been conditioned for a show, except for like the second one I did when I was, lollygagging out there and stuff.
Yeah.
But, I'd always come in conditioned. I was always ready. But I felt like this one, I told Dave, I said, we're cruising in. I feel great. And I feel like, we're about to go do something amazing. And so, and it worked out.
That's amazing. And you looked phenomenal. So yeah,
Thank
it definitely worked out.
Thank you. Yeah.
So tell me, who is Adam Cuellar when he's not competing?
Oh man. So Um, I'm kind of just a laid back guy. If I'm not competing, I'm coaching. If I'm not coaching, then I'm doing, my career. I'm also a husband, right? So I'm a son as well. So family is a real big thing to me. So I try to make sure that, I'm taking care of those responsibilities and, showing up for those people, because bodybuilding is a little bit selfish. So when I get the opportunity, I want to make sure that I'm showing up for people like they show up for me.
And you're a coach, so how do you feel? How important do you feel not only the physical aspect of recovery is, but mental, especially with
I,
competing?
yeah, I think mentally is probably, it's not, if it's not just as important as like physically, it's probably more important to me. I feel like you can push your body pretty far, but if the mind's not there, I don't think that it's worth it, right? Because I don't think anything's worth your mental health, right? And I know that kind of gets thrown around a lot, but I think it's needs to be, you need to be in a good spot mentally, right? Physically, yes. Financially, yes. All those things, yes. But if your heart's not in it and your mind's not in it, I don't. You're not gonna do well at all.
Yeah, the prep is a mindset fucker. Like,
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. What's one thing that you think people misunderstand about bodybuilding?
I think the biggest thing is probably that um, there's no like I think it's like there's no it's either on or off, right? It's either like you have to be doing, if you're in bodybuilding prep, you have to be taking your Tupperware with you, doing this and doing that. Like it is very seldom. Like, and I know this is like people are probably gonna like you know, go in the comments, but like you don't have to take your Tupperware ever with you. You don't have to like do these things. And like, yes, that to some degree, like you need to go outside and maybe have a meal or do something. But, I try to make sure that when I'm in prep, that I try to be present. Right. And I think that a lot of times people need to, that they think that they're less of a bodybuilder if they don't take their Tupperware or their scale or their, these
Big
things.
jug of water, their gallon of water.
Yeah, and it's like I've been doing this for a long time, and like I've never had to do those things. And I think that there's a misconception that if you're not doing those things, you're not hardcore, and you're not a real bodybuilder. And it's like I try to be a bodybuilder without people knowing that I'm a bodybuilder, right? Like
Mm.
I'm a business professional, I'm an oil and gas professional, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm all these other things. I'm just happen to be good at bodybuilding, right? And it's just one of those things like you don't have to be on the extreme side of things to do very well at it.
So, what's your goal now after the Adela Garcia show?
So we are going to go to junior nationals actually. So next week. So this not this Friday, but the following Friday.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And
Um,
so I actually did that show in 2024 and I got top five. That was my very first national show. And so I ended up getting top five there. That was a little bit of a redemption for those couple of second places that I got during
yeah,
the
yeah.
year. Yeah. And so same thing, I got some pretty good feedback. There was just like these sparks of like, hey, you're good at this. You just need to like put it together. And I think, this is kind of our season that we're kind of putting it together. So I'm just enjoying the process of everything, of how everything's going.
Yeah, and I love the humility.
Yeah.
So you say you're a son, you're a husband. You're a business owner. What legacy would you like to leave in the fitness industry?
Oh man. I would like to. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I want people to understand that like money's good, right? Money's one thing, but like the impact that you make on people is bigger, right? And I feel like when you're doing good and you follow your heart and you do things out of like the goodness of your heart, that takes care of itself, right? And so I've just tried to always be super humble and not try to chase the dollar or the fame or the notoriety of bodybuilding. Like, and it's and it sounds very counterintuitive because bodybuilding, you're on stage and you're in front of hundreds of people at a time, right? But I think just being able to use that platform and be able to positively impact people is a great thing, and that's kind of what I want to do is like make sure that I'm taking the time to give younger athletes or even older athletes or whoever, right? Some of the things that I wish somebody would have told me when I was younger, when I was coming up.
So how long do you, can you even answer? Do you want to continue to compete?
Oh, I'm going to compete until I'm a very competitive person
Okay.
in general, right? And so I used to do a lot of different things. I used to cage fight. I used to do CrossFit. I used to do these things. And
Okay.
bodybuilding is one of those things where, yes, it's very taxing on the body, but it's not like cage fighting. If you do it right, you can do it for a long time. And there's
Okay.
guys like George Brown and Andre Ferguson and some of those guys that I look up to, the OG guys. They've been doing it forever. And so I enjoy the process. I enjoy doing the cardio. I enjoy the diet. I enjoy every part of what this entails.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it until the wheels fall off, until I can't do it anymore. I just and it brings me a lot of joy to compete.
Great answer. I talk about this with people all the time. I've never been in a cage fight, but I've been doing CrossFit for probably over 10 years, and
Yeah,
they're always like, "When are you going to stop?" Like, I'm not beat up. I'm good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. I enjoy it.
I think that's like one thing about we talked about, right? The bodybuilding thing, like, if you're not on the extreme side of things, like it doesn't feel like it's a job. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel like you're making yourself do something that you don't want to do. And like I get up every
absolutely.
day and I get to do these things. I get to go work out. I get to go do these things, and I get to help people every day. And so I think for me, like that is like the most rewarding thing for me.
It's a great purpose, I think.
Absolutely,
Everyone
yeah.
should have a purpose to get out of bed. So, with your discipline and that being said, I want you to finish this sentence. Success is.
Oh, success is self-driven, I think, right? Because nobody's going to make you do it. Nobody's going to make you get up. And it's not going to fall in your lap. I come from, like I said, I come from maybe not the best background. I didn't go to college. I didn't, I come from, a family that's kind of broken. So statistically, like I wasn't in the best spot. I should be, maybe in jail or doing these things. And it sounds pretty extreme, but I mean, like any different path that I could have took early on in life could have led me somewhere different, right?
Mhm.
But I always knew that I was destined to do something good or great. And so I still think that I'm still chasing that. And that's really why like I get up in the morning, because I feel like I still have a lot to give to this world, and I still have a
Yeah,
lot to put into the universe.
that's amazing. Do you think discipline is something that can be learned, or something that you just have?
Oof. I think that I think it can be learned, right? But you have to find your why, right? I think a lot of people want to be disciplined. They want to be like, they want to find that cool thing. Like in the last, and I've been in bodybuilding. You've been around bodybuilding, right? For years, right? And right now it's kind of a cool thing, right? It's kind of a fad thing. And, you'll see it kind of like teeter off. Um, but, as far as like, um, I forgot where I was going with that.
You think discipline can be learned?
Yes, it can be learned. So I think right now it's, the big thing is like this is the cool thing right now, right? But, if it's not your why, if it's not the thing that you're doing it because like it's cool, you're
Yeah.
not going to be disciplined. You're not going to want to do it. And you may be able to do it for a little bit, right?
Hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is that if it's not your why, you're not going to be able to be disciplined for it.
I totally agree. I think it's a mindset thing, and I think what happens with a lot of people is they get discipline and motivation crossed, and
Yes.
motivation is a feeling. We have to keep remembering that. It's like you're happy, that's a feeling. You're sad, that's a
Yeah.
feeling. All of those feelings are fleeting. So I think people get discipline mixed in with that. Like people always say to me, "How are you so disciplined? How are you so disciplined on a day when you're having a bad day?" Because it's not a feeling. It's not
Yeah.
like I don't need the motivation. It's not a feeling.
Yeah,
I just
and my
that's what
family
I
always
want to
tells me
do.
yeah, and my family tells me all the time when I go visit and things like that, and even when I'm not on prep and they're eating certain things and they're doing certain things, like I could still be here with you guys, but like it's just not my thing, right? And
Yeah.
it's like I know that there's a bigger plan for me, like I think that like this past year kind of showed that. And so I think it's just one of those things where you have to find why you're doing things and you have to be happy with it, and it's not because you fell into it, or it's a fad, or somebody wants you to do it. Like, you have to genuinely want to do it. And I think that's a big part of finding that.
That's awesome. What is one thing that you're tired of hearing about bodybuilding? It could be a misconception or not.
So I think the biggest thing right now is that, and it kind of goes back to what we said, right? Like, people say, well, bodybuilding ruined my life, or bodybuilding ruined my relationship with food, or bodybuilding did this. And I think like that's such a, like, it's such a buzzword right now. And it's just the thing that people that weren't meant to do this. Like, I don't think everybody's meant to be bodybuilders. And I know this is probably, people can go to the gym. That's great. Yes. But it goes back to what we said, right? Like, this is not an easy sport, and it's not meant to be easy, and it's not meant to be done by everyone, right? But I think the biggest thing is when people are, all in, and they say, I'm, doing all this, doing all that, and then once they're done, they're like, this ruined my life. I have this relationship. I have a bad relationship with food. I have a bad relationship with this. But you already had those tendencies prior to this. It's just bodybuilding just opened that up, and showed you that you had those kind of tendencies.
It highlighted it, right? Yeah.
Because I have nothing bad to say about bodybuilding, like, regardless of, like, even the bad times that I've had in bodybuilding, like when I got second places and I didn't win, and it was never bodybuilding. It was me. Like, it was me trying to go out and trying to, game the system of, like, going out and chasing girls and going out and partying and still trying to be a bodybuilder, right? Like, it was me. It wasn't bodybuilding.
Okay. Are you one of those people that feel like off prep, you still need to look like you do, or pretty close to you do on stage?
I don't think so. I think for me, I want to be comfortable, right? And so I think a lot of people ask me, like, would you ever want to go up to, classic or those things? And I'm like, that involves me getting a lot bigger than I would want to be. And it doesn't, I know that wouldn't make me happy. Right. And so, I try to eat intuitively, and, I try to make sure that I'm comfortable, because I've been on both sides of the scale, literally, right? When I grew up, I was pretty tiny, kind of skinny. And then I've been on the opposite side where I was pretty heavy. So I try to find that middle ground where I feel good about myself. Like, yeah, maybe not the best for, like, IG pictures and, like, being shredded in the gym, but, like, I feel good, and I feel like I can perform and show up and do those things. Because we all know that this kind of conditioning and this kind of, extremeness you can't do this all the time, right?
Right.
So I think that's one of the lessons I learned early on, because I did try to ride that line of, like, I'm going to try to stay stage lean as long as I can, and it's miserable, and it's not sustainable. And so I think it's one of those things where you have to ride that midline of, yes, like, you don't want to get too out of shape, but you don't want to stay in, like, this caloric deficit where you're not making any progress for the next couple, for the next season, right? So I think there's a fine line of, like, finding that good balance of being able to enjoy things and, go out with your family and do those things if those are the things that you enjoy doing, but still, staying on diet, 90, 85, 90% of the time.
Yeah. And loving yourself, or you will get body dysmorphia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Adam, this was amazing. Thank you so much. I know you haven't done any podcasts, so I'm honored that you did mine. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. And congratulations again on your win. I love that you're coming off of this weekend feeling amazing. Good luck in juniors.
Thank you so much.
And I'm looking forward to you upping your social media a bit.
I know. That's one of the things I need to get after is start posting more, because I do think that, like, my story is pretty cool, and I think people could listen to it and enjoy it. So
absolutely. Again, thank you for being on. And I want to let everyone know I am still on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and Audible. If this is something that resonates with you, join my community, because the best is yet to come.